retreat. Failures never taste the sweet. Science lessons learned in flight. Journey on to endless night. For the stars, we aim so high. The poor jet didn't kiss goodbye. For science and purple light, we'll keep flying through the light. Rocket launch with hope so grand. EJ's got the master plan. Thrusters burn to reach the moon. In his eye you see the tune. Orbit dreams won't be delayed. Lessons learned from missions made. Turbo time will forge a path to the stars beyond this path. For the stars, we aim so high. The poor jet didn't kiss goodbye. For science and purple light, we'll keep flying through the light. Rocket launch with hope so grand. EJ's got the master plan. Thrusters burn to reach the moon. In his eye you see the tune. Keep flying through the light.
All right. Welcome to the Space and Rocket Review. You two girls, tell your friends, Space and Rocket Review. Hello, everybody. I am EJ, your host of EJ's Space and Rocket Review. How's everybody doing? Actually, a good amount of stuff teed up here for you today for the news. Yeah, of course, Admina. Duh. Okay. Cool. All right, let's roll. Look at the screenshot I snagged after downloading that reentry mod. Wow. That's pretty good, man. Pretty good. Oh, well then. Loud and clear, 5x5. Cool. Wow, that's the new reentry mod for KSP. Oof, that's pretty. It's pretty good. Who made this one? Is it called Firefly or something? It's called Firefly and it's on CCAN. Oh. You made it, Nova? You made the craft. Oh, I was gonna say, that looks fantastic. Mirage Dev made the mod. Cool. So that's on CCAN. We might have to, I don't know, man. The Beavers might have to wait. I have to go check that out. Mirage Dev made it. It's his first mod. Cool. While you're at it, there's some new KSA screenshots in the Dev Updates channel. Oh, all right. Well, we're here. Where is that? Ah, there it is. Oh, very good. Here, take a look. Black Rack's doing Black Rack things over there. Ooh. Ooh. Well then. Well then. All right. That's KSA. Wow. Very good. Bow Shocks, my beloved. When can we see a kitten for the Kitten Space Agency? I have no idea. I have no idea. But cool, cool. All right, so first thing I'm going to do with Space and Rocket Review, that's your gaming update for the day. There is a little bit more to the gaming updates here, but yeah. Kind of on a dry spell for the next 2 days. Nothing on the range until Starlink 12.9 on Friday at 1:50. They put out concept art for kittens. Yeah, that's about it. And then IoT4U was supposed to go on Tuesday, but it ended up moving to Saturday at 3 in the afternoon because, or 3:40 in the afternoon because, you know, why wouldn't it? You know, that's great. Great. You know, so I don't know if I don't know, maybe I'll cover that for NSF or something. They have a bunch of concept art, but I think they're holding off on actually making in-game renders because they're focusing on the physics and orbital mechanics stuff first. Yeah. It's been assigned. That's exactly what's going on. Yep. Cool. All right. So, a little bit more. I said there's a little bit more on the gaming news. Check this out. This is coming from NASA. Look at this. NASA goes live. First Twitch stream from the space station. For the first time, NASA is hosting a live Twitch event from about 250 miles off the Earth aboard the International Space Station, bringing new audiences closer to space than ever before. Viewers will have the opportunity to hear from NASA astronauts live and ask questions about life in orbit. The event will begin at 11:45 Eastern on Wednesday, February 12th, live streamed from the agency's official Twitch channel. This Twitch event from space is the first of many. We spoke with digital creators at TwitchCon about their desire for streams designed with their communities in mind, and we listened. In addition to our spacewalks, launches, and landings, we'll host more Twitch-exclusive streams like this one. Twitch is one of the many digital platforms we use to reach new audiences and get them excited about all things space. Only been trying to do that for like a decade, but guess my voice wasn't loud enough. Although NASA streamed events to Twitch previously, this conversation will be the first NASA event from the International Space Station developed specifically for the agency's Twitch platform. During the event, viewers will hear from NASA astronaut Don Pettit, who is currently aboard the orbiting laboratory, and NASA astronaut Matt Dominic, who recently returned to Earth after the agency's Crew 8 mission. The NASA astronauts will discuss daily life aboard the space station and research conducted in microgravity. Additionally, the event will highlight ways for Twitch users to engage with NASA, including citizen science projects, science, technology, engineering, and math programs designed to inspire the Artemis generation. NASA is committed to exploring new digital platforms to engage with new audiences. Last year, the agency introduced its own streaming platform, NASA Plus. Okay, we don't need to talk about NASA Plus. Gee, that's interesting. I'm just genuinely curious who thought NASA having its own streaming platform would be a good idea. Just genuinely curious. Like I'm kind of wondering who was like, I know what the kids will like. Our own streaming platform. You're gonna spam chat with the SLS rocket? Yeah, maybe they'll take a hint. I don't know, man. That's cool. I'm happy that they're doing that stuff. I kind of wish I was involved, but hey, it's all good. I don't go to TwitchCon. I haven't gone to TwitchCon since 2019. So, yeah. There you go. Cool. Next bit of news here is coming from Stoke. Let's see. Stoke has a picture here of their Zenith engine hot firing on the test stand. All right. That's pretty good, man. The Zenith engine is part of Stoke's Nova rocket, which is a two-stage, fully reusable medium-duty satellite launcher that Stoke is developing. Let's see. Maybe they have a picture of it. There it is. Yeah, note that their second stage is kind of shaped like a capsule. That's on purpose. Second stage is shaped like a capsule so it can re-enter like a capsule and then come down and do a propulsive landing. Kind of similar to like Dragon 2, like the original Dragon 2 ideas. No people would be on board this, might I add, but still cool. Because all the cool kids are doing their own plus streaming service, yep. Is that engine Methalox full flow? Yes, it is full flow. Zenith, I'm pretty sure, is a full flow stage combustion cycle. There is so many Methalox engines being developed right now, I have trouble keeping track of all the cycles for all the different motors that are being developed. There's the Zenith engine here. There's Firefly's Miranda engine. There is Rocket Lab's Archimedes engine. These are all being developed, and I forget what the cycles are of all these things. What would rockets be in 15 years? I hope something like Starship. Hear me out. Stoke makes a bigger rocket and names it Supernova. Good idea. Miranda is Carolox. See, I can't even keep track of what fuels these things have. It's ridiculous. Because, you know, in the heyday of spaceflight, when I was growing up, there was shuttle engines and solid rocket boosters and an RL-10. And then an RS-68 and then the RD-180, and that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it, dude. It's not a lot. There's so many dang engines nowadays. This isn't a bad thing, but I'd like to note that this thing is very, very much a developmental engine. This is nowhere near flying on anything. It's close, but nah, it's going to take a while. See all these things? This looks like these spider webs that are coming down and connecting to the engine. Those are developmental sensors. They're basically used to verify. These developmental sensors are being used to verify that the operational sensors on the engine are working correctly. So basically, when you're testing an engine right now, when you're testing an engine at this phase, you get into preliminary testing like this. You need sensors to make sure your sensors are working. Now, who's going to make sure that the sensors for the sensors work? Well, the square hole does that. No, these types of developmental suite sensors are something that like is kind of widely used throughout the industry. So these sensors are usually good. I mean, you do have to verify that they work. I mean, if you don't verify that they work and you get a different reading between your DFI and OFI sensor and you go to fire it and it blows up, well, whose fault is that? That didn't happen, but that didn't happen here. So That's Zenith, not Miranda. I know, Kate. It's right there. I know. I'm talking about all the different engines. Who monitors the monitors that monitor the monitors? I don't know. Joel, every time I hear your voice, I just hear Zoidberg now that you did that voice on NSF. That a good thing or a bad thing, Joel? Is that a good thing or a bad thing? You're getting typecast. That's what the problem is. Oh, it makes you laugh. Okay, that's good. So it's a good thing. Yes, yes. Look at me, Dr. Zoidberg, homeowner. I'll have you know I can do other voices as well. Look at this rocket engine. Look at the bright, bright, sparkly sunshine that's coming out of the bottom of that engine. I know, Chad, I know what you're thinking. It looks like a steakhouse. Well, she looks like a steakhouse, but handles like a bistro. Zoidberg is top notch. You call that an ink defense? Thank you. All right. Oh. Next space news is just EJ explaining everything in the Bill Nelson voice 24/7. We don't do the Bill Nelson voice anymore. All right. Next bit is coming from Tori Bruno here. Went down to Vandenberg for delivery of our second methane tank for Slick 3. Big. 1 million pounds empty. 3 million fully fueled. Snap some pics for you guys. These are methane tanks that are going to be working, that are going to go to Vulcan's launch pad at Vandenberg, which is Slick 3. Particularly Slick 3 East. Ford. Yep, this is the dock at Vandenberg to move hardware out to the pads. This was built during the shuttle program, fun fact. This dock. It was used to move external tanks to Vandenberg. Slick 3E used to launch Atlas. That's correct. It is currently being retooled for Vulcan launches as we speak. And Methalox fuel tanks being installed. See? Well, I'm looking at the name. It says liquefied natural gas. I'd like to point out that Vulcan and BE4 don't actually use methane. They use LNG, liquefied natural gas, which is almost methane, but that's not methane. Those are two different things. LNG is methane, butane, and propane kind of mixed together in a in certain proportions to achieve a certain result. If I had to guess, the LNG is probably the reason why they'd use LNG over full methane is most likely because of the oxygen-rich stage combustion. They're probably adding some propane and butane in there for something just to, you know, make that BE4 a little bit more spicy, but that's the idea. How do you make a ship in KSP like Neutron? That would be really hard. You don't have an open and closable fairing like that, Andy. With that being said, it's doable. That Vulcan ain't waiting on engines anymore. Serious? I've been saying for a long damn time, dude, that, you know, everybody's like, what's Blue doing? What's Blue doing? What's Blue doing? You know, where are my engines, Jeff? I'm like, you guys know they're not talking and they're not showing much because they're scaling, right? Like, they're scaling engines. It takes a second to build a factory that's going to build like one engine a month. Takes a second. Ask Elon. He knows. You remember that email that SpaceX employees said that's like, oh, the company could go bankrupt if we don't make a bajillion Raptors in the next 5 years. It's like, I mean, he's not wrong, right? Everyone laughing until they put nitrous on Vulcan. Why would you put nitrous on Vulcan? That would make it worse. Grandma, you don't need the nitrogen. You don't need the nitrogen with rockets. It's just oxygen. You don't even... Dude, nitrous is 33% oxidizer. Liquid oxygen is 100% oxidizer. Oh, no. We're way past using nitrous. With that being said, there are hybrid rockets out there. A solid rocket booster with an oxidizer injection manifold at the top. It's called a hybrid rocket. That do run off nitrous. Yep. Virgin Galactic's space plane does that. It has an SRB with nitrous tanks attached to the top, and the nitrous tanks shoot into the SRB. Yep. I thought nitrous oxide was better than oxygen. No. Maybe for a car. I wouldn't go spraying liquid oxygen into a car's engine. That would... I mean, it'd be funny. It wouldn't do what you think it's going to do, that's for sure. So if Tori Bruno on Twitter really saying that they're mostly using methane, probably LNG part is not that big. LNG, Yuri, particularly the LNG mixture that they're most likely using is like 95% methane and like 2.5% butane and 2.5% propane. It's something like that. They put the butane and the propane in... I don't remember the exact thing, but you can adjust like methane, propane, and butane. Like if you adjust the proportions, you can achieve a certain result, a certain characteristic energy of the motor. Like it really depends on what you're trying to do, like, or how you engineer the engine. They're doing that to achieve a certain result, and I forget the exact reason why you would do that, but that's what's going on. The engine wouldn't engine for long. I mean, it'd be funny, Cirrus, but I don't think that would be good. All right. Anyway, the next bit of space news here is coming from PLD Space. PLD is a Spanish commercial launch provider, and they're working on the Mira 5 second stage fuel tank, ready to freeze it. Oh, hello. All right. Mira 5 is a light to medium duty launch vehicle that PLD is working on. It follows the success of their Mira 1 launch. I think that was 2 years ago, something like that. Yeah. Pretty cool to see a Spanish commercial company do freaking making works in the launch services business. That's pretty sweet. PLD is one of two big commercial aerospace players that are coming up, that are up and coming in Europe right now. The other one is Rocket Factory Augsburg, which is working on also a medium duty launch vehicle for commercial services, which is pretty cool. That's pretty awesome. It's cool to see the aerospace industry blossoming in Spain. Yeah, note they have stuff blurred out. Interesting. No mira. I think Blue Origin will just increase their chamber pressure once they have more data on BE4 performance. I mean, Cheeseburger, it's no doubt that during New Glenn that they were running a very conservative fuel map for the BE4. If I had to guess, they were most likely using Vulcan's configuration just because that's a good baseline, right? And you know it works. They'll probably tune them up later. Well, that's pretty neat. How neat is that? So this one's coming from James Webb. This is the James Webb Space Telescope. This next bit. Dust in the stellar wind, dude. This new James Webb image shows an edge-on protoplanetary disk around a newly formed star, surrounded by jets in a disk wind in unprecedented detail. I have no idea what that means. Yeah, underclocked. They weren't necessarily underclocked for Vulcan, though, Nova. But yeah. You love Catalonia, the California of Spain. Well, yeah, of course. The name is really close, man. It's a baby solar system. Cool. Making baby planets. All right. Nice. Nice. Cool. So James Webb once again provides some stellar... Damn it, I did it too. It's providing some really cool pictures from deep space. I've been hanging around with Sawyer too much. Does Catalonia have a wine mixer? I mean, I would hope so. It's the Catalonia wine mixer, Cirrus. The biggest helicopter sales on the west coast of Spain. Spain still has a little bit of west coast. Most of it is Portugal, but it's just a little bit. You know, it's good. All right. What else we got? It's coming from Marshall Space Flight Center. Happy Create a Vacuum Day. Several NASA centers have large-scale chambers that replicate the extreme environment of space for testing purposes. This includes Marshall, which is home to over 20 vacuum chambers that can mimic high vacuums, extreme temperatures, and more. That thing sucks. Cool. Cheers from Barcelona. Glad to see you talking about my country. De nada, amigo. Oh, cool. Neato burrito. Yeah, they use this for... This is basically a big pressure vessel, but it's not a pressure vessel. It's a reverse pressure vessel. So basically what they do is that you make a big, strong tank, you bolt it together, right? And then you suck everything out of it, and you use that to test how spacecraft fly in space. It's called a vacuum chamber. There are all different types of vacuum chambers all around Marshall. NASA Glenn has the biggest one, though. NASA Glenn has the biggest vacuum testing chamber around. It's quite large. Here, let me show you. So you aren't looking at a nuclear power plant there, I swear. You're looking at the biggest vacuum testing chamber in the world. It was built for the Apollo program to test, well, spacecraft. Test the CSM and the LEM in a thermal vacuum environment. And that's exactly what it still does. To this day, they used it for testing spacecraft. There you go. See? It is a big old vacuum chamber. Ray, you want to say a quick hello before you have to get back to work? Hello. Hello there.
Oh, this is space.
Argon.
I'm in space.
4 months now. Thanks, Novaraptor. EJ, do you think we will ever see specialized Starship second stages for customer payloads? What do you mean, Bargon? I don't mean to... Would you just look at it? Would you just look at it?
Oh, would you look at this?
Would you look at this? How would you look at? Would you just look at? Would you just? Sometimes you just gotta walk up to it and say, "Would you just? Would you just look at it?" Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Lumprod. We'll talk about that in a second. Cool. There's also pictures of Orion in there as well. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So Vargon, I think that Starship, just on a quick tangent here, I think that you're saying specialized upper stages. Are you talking about like a stage with a payload fairing? I'm not entirely sure SpaceX would do something like that. What I am sure of is that SpaceX is going to sell. Well, I actually shouldn't say that I'm sure of this, but if SpaceX wants to operate Starship like a space, like they said it wants to be like a plane. You want to get airliner reliability. If you want to do that, well, what's your business model here? Your business model is to not sell the services like what Falcon 9 would do, but sell the entire product and train people how to fly it. This is the particular reason why, and this is the only scenario where I'd really be okay with this, is if NASA bought a Starship and then NASA used said Starship, or NASA bought like 4 or 5 Starships like they'd procure planes, right? And NASA used the Starships for NASA missions. NASA operated the Starships in-house and had their own catch tower, had their own everything, right? And NASA basically had a space shuttle Starship that could go up with a payload bay and come back down and build space stations, etc., etc. Right? That would be the only scenario where I'd be cool with the Artemis program getting axed completely. That would be the only one. And we're not even close to being near that. But, yeah. If you're talking about tailored starships, yes, absolutely. I think they'll do that. They're already making different variants for just what they need. Why would they stop there? You know, you have Depot Starship, you have Refueling Starship, you have Starlink Starship, you have Cruise Starship, you have HLS Starship, right? Personally, I think we're going to see a Starship with a payload bay and a crew tank similar to the Space Shuttle. Really think that's going to happen. But that's just me. Yeah, this pretty much covers it. Yeah, cool. NASA takes over 39A again to do that. That'd be pretty sick, David. Yeah, who knows? What is this, Phil? Oh, no. Phil, that one might take some explaining to do, so I'll save that for the end. I'll save what you just linked to for the end. That might need some context. Oh, man. Do you think there's going to be NASA and DoD variants? Yes, Yannick. There's DoD variants of a 737. Also, NASA operates 737s, or they did at one point. Yeah, sure. You got to think about it like an aircraft. Not a spaceship. Not like a dedicated spaceship. Okay, this one's coming from Rocket Lab here. Announcing another multi-launch contract in the books with Electron for Japanese constellation operator QPS Incorporated. Ah, yes. Across 3 missions this year and a 4th in 2026, Electron will help build out IQPS's synthetic aperture radar constellation collecting Earth imagery. Constellation deployment requires launch reliability, flexibility, and precise delivery of satellites to their chosen orbit. That's a service we're proud to support IQPS with. Good. Rocket Lab showing that, building a small sat launcher can absolutely be profitable. If your small sat launcher works. Relativity, I'm looking at you. Seriously, Terranar is going to be sweet, but also, saying it works. Is that Kevin Jen Michael Vincent Reed with the 7-month resub? What's up, Kevin? How you doing? Do not scroll down to the replies on that Rule 8. I kind of want to, Dino. Is that bad? We'll save that for the end, okay? We'll save it for the end. Chances are it's a Hokey, we'll talk about it in a second. Just copy that, paste it, type it out later. This is Peter Beck, Sir Peter Beck, who is the CEO of Rocket Lab. I'm not sure about that. We are pretty good at small rockets. This is a Space News article that says, missing links still needed to save Mars sample return. Oh, boy. So, I'll give you the gist of this here. And I'm going to talk about context of this, not necessarily the article. Alleviate 60-month resub. Dude, you got your worm. Would you just look at it?
Oh, would you look at this?
Would you just look at it? Would you just...
My name is Jeff.
All right. So, that Space News article is written missing. It says missing links still needed to save Mars sample return. The gist of this entire conversation is that NASA released a plan with a couple of options for what they can do, for what the next administration can do to get Mars sample return working correctly. Right? One of the options is maybe use commercial. The other one is basically just keep doing what we're doing. The reason why I say keep doing what they're doing is because last year the Mars sample return mission was canceled completely in favor of a study to figure out what was the best way to proceed. Fun fact. Yep. Good times. And believe it or not, NASA, is like, okay, we're going to stop. We got to reassess what's going on. And then about a month ago, actually about a month and a half ago at this point, NASA had a whole press conference on what they plan on doing, or the options that they have for going forward with Mars sample return. One of them is literally do the exact same thing. Do the exact thing that they did with a couple of changes here and there of the program that they canceled a year ago. The other one is use commercial to do the exact same thing that they did in the program that they canceled a year ago. I'm not kidding. I listened to that entire press conference. I took notes, bro. I have the receipts. I have the damn receipts in my ESA book. Option 1, use a Curiosity sky crane with a simplified return vehicle from ESA. Switch your sample container cleaning operations to the surface of Mars and use a modification of Perseverance's remote manipulator system for collection and transfer. The only problem with doing that is that the sky crane needs to be 20% bigger. And a new attachment needs to be engineered for the modified version of Perseverance arm that's going to be used to collect the samples for Mars sample return. Option 2, a commercial heavy lander. Could be SpaceX, could be Blue Origin, but we don't know much more because it's all proprietary info. Oh yeah, that press conference basically said option 1, this is what we're going to do, which is basically the same thing. Option 2, they actually just said, oh, commercial. What does that detail? I don't know. It's up to them to say. Yeah, no, I'm serious. That's what I wrote down. It hasn't been fleshed out yet. Proprietary info is in the design, SpaceX or Blue. The commercial option costs anywhere between $5.8 and $7.1 billion. The in-house option costs anywhere between $6.6 billion and $7.7 billion. They estimated that these costs are what the total cost involved with the program is going to be over the next 10 years. And one of them, option 1, is literally the same thing with a couple of redesigns of the program that they canceled. Either one of these options here, dudes, here's the thing. Either one of these options are fine. Fine mission architecture. If you have something that can move 30 tons to the surface of Mars. This is where NASA's going wrong. They do not have something that can do that. NASA needs a Mars ascent and descent vehicle. They need an MADV. And they don't have an MADV. And as long as they don't have an MADV, this is not going to happen. Rocket Lab, for whatever reason, thinks that they can do it better with small rockets. I'm pretty sure Peter Beck is just talking about the ascent vehicle design here, but at the end of the day, how are you going to get this entire ascent vehicle and lander, which weighs more than 20 tons, down to the surface? And I know what people are going to say. Well, EJ, in option 1, didn't you say they're going to use a version of Perseverance's sky crane? Well, yeah, of course they are. 20% bigger. Which is a nice way of saying they're not using Perseverance's sky crane because they have to re-engineer it. It's exactly like the Perseverance lander in every way, except for every single way possible. Also, you need to get into chute redesign if you're going to send a sky crane that's 20% bigger. The chutes are designed to land Perseverance, which is not a 20-ton payload. Perseverance is like 5. It's probably actually less than that. Doesn't matter. Point is, you need an ascent and descent vehicle, and NASA does not have one of those. So, Peter Beck, and I'm not saying that Rocket Lab doesn't have the chops here. Peter Beck absolutely has the chops. You know why? Rocket Lab actually launches things into space. That's a pretty good requirement for doing the rest of this stuff. He thinks he can do it for cheaper, and he's been bugging NASA. Well, not bugging. He's been the squeaky wheel in this regard, saying I can do that. My company can do this. We have all the equipment to do this. Just let us do it. And NASA's just like, la 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 la. I can't hear you. La 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 la. Yes, this is an accurate description of what's been going on over the last year when it comes to Mars sample return. You have my word. But if the ascent vehicle is smaller and lighter, wouldn't that mean that the lander and therefore the sky crane can be smaller? Peter Beck must have something up his sleeve. He wouldn't be talking up his Mars sample return architecture if he didn't have something up his sleeve. It's possible. 20% get bigger is easier to explain to Congress, which is in practice a mission requirement. Yeah, Yannick. I hate to break it to Congress, but if you want us to get this thing done, we're going to need more money. Oh, we can't do that mentality is a really stupid way of getting things done. Yeah, that's dumb. That's dumb. They think people in Congress are going to get sticker stock? They're going to get sticker shock. But the thing is that they're the ones that want to do it. So, who knows? Either way, I would say a Mars sample return, there is 2 options, and Bill Nelson's NASA left the incoming administrator with 2 options to do this. Basically, let commercial figure it out, or keep going with the one that you have in-house, which is a copy of the program that you canceled a year ago, and it's going to cost basically the same amount. Yep. Good times. So we'll see what happens. It's Peter Beck's he's really pining for that MSR, and that dude, I'd be in, because neither one of those options is going to get a sample from Mars back to Earth in the 2020s. They're both expected to do that in the 2030s. So where's Lockheed's MADV? I don't know. Obtuse. Maybe they should go figure that one out. Not that they would, but what's stopping them from doing it themselves without NASA, including grabbing the capsules? Is it anything other than money? Planetary protection? Something like that, probably. Nothing is preventing Isaacman from just redoing the RFI. He absolutely is going to, spoiled. I've said it once, I'll say it again. I don't think necessarily that the hardware that NASA has is bad. I really don't. They got stuff like James Webb. They got stuff like Hubble, even though it's on its way out. SLS, Orion. The stuff that NASA has right now is not bad. It took a lot of time and effort to make this stuff. It's what they do with it that pisses me off, because they don't do anything with it, except for James Webb. That they actually launched that. It only took them 20 years. Right? We have an SLS core being stacked right now for a mission in 2026. Like, see what I mean? There's such a disconnect there. What I think Rook needs to do is go in there and just tear up all the contracts and refactor NASA's entire contracting structure. That needs to be done because it's ridiculous. Don't start on a mass sim instead of a sat. Yeah. Oh, jeez. The allocation, the capital allocation is ridiculous. You're telling me with $23 billion a year, NASA has only been able to launch their Super Heavy launch vehicle once over 15 years. Look, man, I can understand when the vehicle's in development. But the vehicle, SLS ain't in development no more, except for the upper stage. It ain't in development no more. It flew. Start making them. Start making a lot of them. Make more. We need at least 4 SLS launches a year for it to be worth it. Why 4 a year, EJ? What does that mean? Well, that's enough to build the rocket up, send it out to the moon, do a long duration stay on the moon, come home, and by the time your astronauts come home, you have a little bit of a debrief, and then you launch the next one. Boom. Done. If you do longer duration stays, that potentially gives you overlap in your missions over time. So you start, the first missions to the moon, the long duration missions to the moon, maybe it's a month. So you have a 1 month launch campaign, you launch, they stay there for a month, and they come back, debrief, learn everything. That's 3 months down. You do that 4 times a year. You're good. After that, you can start moving to 2 month stays. And then if you do a 2 month stay, that means at the end of the first stint of the crew on the moon, the second one gets out there and there's a week overlap. Right? And then you overlap your missions. So you have perpetual habitation. Oh, geez, I wonder where we learned how to do that. The ISS, maybe. Just saying. Probably a good idea. That's what you need to be sustainable. That's what I mean when I say the contracting structure for SLS procurement and frankly every type of procurement needs to be completely redone. I've given it 15 years of patience, and that is a lot less than a lot of other people that are spaceflight fans. I've been very patient, but I've also been following the information enough to know that that's what needs to be done. Hey, Hypemare, what's up? Before you know it, it's 43 months. 43 months stay on the moon. All right, let's go. Height, you and me, dude. Let's do it, man. You think Dean would be okay with that? What's up, dude? How are you? Four times per year, I really doubt it. Well, why, Joe? Why would you doubt that? Never gonna happen? You really doubt it. Why? Why would you doubt that? Why would you be cheering for NASA to fail? That's a very interesting position to take here on a space flight stream. I didn't leave you hanging, just so you know. Okay, man, all good, all good. Why? Why would we do this? Why would be... Okay, let me put it to you like this. I'm an American. I pay taxes to fund projects like SLS. Why would I be okay with this thing launching once like every 3 years? Hey, Bright, 48-month resub. BB, what's going on with Butch and Sonny? It's completely out of the news cycle, it seems. They're coming back down on the Crew 9 capsule. It's just taking a little bit longer because SpaceX is building another Dragon to pick up the slack because Starliner isn't launching as much. So Crew 10, the next flight, NASA wants overlap, like what I'm talking about. They want a week overlap so Crew 9 can hand over operations to Crew 10, and they can go from there. So Crew 9 stay is getting extended a little bit because it's a brand new Dragon capsule that's going to launch on Crew 10. Why did SpaceX make another Dragon capsule? Well, they became pretty aware that Starliner is not going to be able to hold its weight here for the amount of missions that NASA has manifested going to the ISS. So Butch and Sonny are going to stay up there for another month. They were supposed to come down this month. They're probably going to come down next month while SpaceX performs final checks on this brand new Dragon. There you go. Not cheering against it. Congress will never pay. What do you mean Congress will never pay? Congress wants money to be spent on SLS, Joe. I don't understand. You're telling me that if you went and handed them a huge firm fixed price procurement contract for SLS over the next 10 years for 4 launches a year, they're not going to see dollar signs and be like, yes, do this. Look, everybody knows that NASA is a job program. Absolutely. It's a jobs program. It's designed to put jobs in congressional districts. Everybody cites that as being a weak link of NASA. I disagree. I think that is what put people on the moon. You just need somebody at the helm that's competent enough to understand that that's what it's for. Just saying. They did do an EVA the other day, Lord Gugu. That's right. You think Rook will make SLS launch multiple times a year? I really hope so, Nova, because doing anything else is not going to be the most sustainable way forward. Yes, you heard that right. Yeah, Yuri, that's the idea. Mm-hmm. Pretty much, Nova. That's a good way to look at it. Anyway, next bit of news here. So, this is coming from Astrolab. We're headed to the moon with Astrobotic. Astrobotic's Griffin lander will deliver Astrolab's Flip rover to the moon as part of Griffin Mission 1. Flip is scheduled for delivery to the lunar South Pole at the end of 2025. Huh. Do you think NASA is afraid of failing, which is why they will only launch when they think it'll absolutely succeed? I think that has something to do with it, Mowgli. I really think it's so I think NASA. Here's the problem. Here's my overarching problem with SLS. It's not a hardware-rich program. That's it. NASA doesn't know how to do a hardware-rich program. They haven't done one in 50 years. What does that mean? What does hardware-rich mean? Having a lot of rockets. How? And you know what? I'll admit I have the benefit of hindsight here in this regard. And people certainly brought up their criticisms for sure, Mowgli, but okay, it can be boiled down to one question. How are you going to run a sustainable space program launching once a year? How are you going to do that? Do you think NASA's still going to be around after Doge? Yes. You can't. We should have said, like, I mean, I had my doubts, right? But I've always said, you know, instead of being like, I'll just cancel the whole thing, it doesn't make any sense, which is what a lot of people say, which is frankly stupid thing to say. Like, that's not smart. That's not a smart thing to say, and I'm not trying to be a jerk. The reason why I don't like that, and the reason why I say, you know, Joe, I don't mean to pick on you over in the YouTube chat. The reason why I say, like, I want SLS to launch 4 times a year, and, you know, then people say, oh, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. Well, is because, okay, here's the thing. Scaling to 4 launches a year is going to be way easier than just canceling the entire thing and then figuring out cost allocation from there. That's not going to get us further in space. That will wind up with a lesser capability for what NASA needs to do. The reason why I know this is because every time someone has said, our current program is too expensive, we can use this thing, this is the wonder vehicle, this is what's going to change everything, you know, it's going to be the paradigm shift that we've been looking for, and then we'll finally be able to work around this. Every time somebody's made that argument, NASA gets the shaft, ends up with less money and less capability. Apollo to the shuttle. Shuttle to Constellation. Constellation to nothing. And then nothing to SLS. See what I'm saying? That's a bad idea. Because you got to remember, SpaceX is building Starship to be a commercial vehicle. It is supposed to be like an airliner. And that's all fine and dandy. If NASA wants to buy and procure these starships for their own spaceflight architecture, I don't have a problem with that, like how NASA had 747s that moved the shuttle around. Sure. If you want to do that, that's fine. But until NASA can procure and operate their own starships, NASA's inherent mission goals are kind of at odds with what Starship is trying to do. Ironically enough, you know, they're landing, you know, NASA astronauts are landing in a Starship on the moon. But NASA doesn't need a 747 to get to the moon. They're a scientific research organization at heart. You don't necessarily need that. Because NASA, what NASA is designed to do is to advance space and scientific exploration. They're supposed to be the cutting edge, and if Starship is the cutting edge, so be it. But once again, it's important to understand that NASA's goals aren't exactly what SpaceX's are. NASA isn't hell-bent on colonizing Mars. NASA is hell-bent on researching and understanding Mars to pave the way for colonization. Because that definition is inherently different, you don't need the exact same rocket. SLS, I think, is fine for what NASA needs to do. I really think so. Do I hate that it throws shuttle engines into the ocean? Oh, you bet your bottom dollar I do. Oh, that pisses me off. I hate that a lot. But also at the same time, you have it. It exists. The design is there. The industrial base is there. Just make more of them, please. Just make more of them, and get your lunar base, and then have SpaceX work on going to Mars. NASA focuses all their effort on going to the moon. SpaceX focuses all their effort going to Mars with NASA contracts. Boom. We have 2 super heavy launch vehicles, 2 space flight programs going to each one of the planets, and hopefully we succeed on both fronts. Right? I agree that we can't cancel SLS. Post-shuttle program proved that. Yeah, I mean, more or less, but yeah. Do you think the moon this decade is realistic? Yes. Yes, that is in the realm of possibility. The other thing is Orion, the same deal. It's the same answer to Mowgli's question. Orion is not a hardware-rich program. They don't make a lot of Orions. Because they didn't think they needed it, because the rocket would only be launching once a year. Weird how that works. Because of this, because you have one rocket that is in extremely low frequency, low abundance, right? Because the procurement contracts for it incentivize people to waste money. But that's another story. And no, for what it's worth, I don't have anything against cost-plus contracts. In case anybody's like, oh, come on. I know how development of launch vehicles works. I get it. Orion, because it was designed to launch not a lot, can't really afford the R&D that is required for building something that can go to and from the moon. Operative point. After the EFT-1 mission, which launched an Orion heat shield, and basically an amalgam of an Orion capsule, it came back down, it re-entered, and then NASA looked at it, and it worked pretty well, because it was basically an exact copy of the Apollo heat shield. They looked at it and said, this is too complicated to make this. It's too complicated to make, we need to re-engineer it. And then promptly re-engineered it. And then almost a decade later, they launched it on Artemis 1. And this new designed heat shield that's designed to basically be easier to manufacture with modern manufacturing methods didn't work. It ablated because of cracks induced from pneumatic pressure of air from air stagnation on the front side of the heat shield. What does that mean? The pressure on the front of a heat shield is insanely high. It's very, 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 very high pressure at the front. You have what's called a stagnation point where air gets trapped. The air coming onward basically stops the air right there and super compresses it. And per the ideal gas law, you super compress it, it gets superheated. This superheated gas stays there and it permeates the heat shield. And if the heat shield starts cracking, which it does, the air will go into the cracks and basically liberate chunks of the heat shield out. Think like the same idea of ice in a road. It's wintertime. Anybody live in a place where ice forms on the road? What does it do? It makes cracks. Same idea. But with gas at like 1600, or no, not 1600. Gas at like 2000 Celsius. Yeah. So the heat shield didn't work. It didn't work how NASA wanted it to work on Artemis 1. Why not? Because they didn't test it enough. They redesigned that thing in 2014. Didn't have a chance to test it until 2022. See what I mean about not hardware rich, Mowgli? Hardware lean. Not good. Not good if you're learning how to do new things. And let's be real, we're so far out of the gates from going to the moon, NASA basically has to relearn how to do it. Which is why we haven't been back in a half century. But that's another story. Now, NASA has a big problem. Artemis 2 was supposed to launch this year. Actually, it was supposed to launch in 2022, but oops. Artemis 1 was supposed to launch in 2020. Just saying. Actually, 2017 if you want to go from the original deadline at the beginning of the programs. NASA somehow thought it was going to crap out a super heavy launch vehicle in 5 years. Okay. So Artemis 2 is supposed to launch this year, or was supposed to launch this year. NASA said, no, it's not going to launch this year. We're going to wait until we're ready, until everything's safe. They have to put crew on the next one because Artemis 3, right? Artemis 3 is the landing. After that, you don't have a way to get people out near the moon. Why not? Well, SLS Block 1, the current version of SLS that's flying, the one that flew on Artemis 1, has the interim cryogenic propulsion stage, which is a Delta IV derived upper stage. Delta IV does not fly anymore. It does not fly. It doesn't fly anymore. In fact, the last 3 stages off the Delta production line were ICPSs. Well, not exactly. There was 1 or 2 other missions interspersed in there, but that's another story. So, you don't have any more of these upper stages. Now you have no upper stage. The next upper stage that was supposed to be replaced for SLS, the exploration upper stage, is nowhere near completed. So now you're in a pickle. What do? If you don't put people on the Artemis 2 mission, and then you use Artemis 3 as your test flight, well, who knows when the next stage is going to be available to launch people to the moon to land. So Artemis 3 has to be your lunar landing if you want to do it anytime soon. So now NASA's in a really, really tight spot. Do you send it with the heat shield? Do you send astronauts with the heat shield and then change the trajectory around and hope it's going to work? Yeah, that's pretty much what they're going to do, but not after doing a lot of calculations. Because they don't have a choice. The right thing to do would be to just test the heat shield again. But there's no way to do that. Orion doesn't launch on anything but SLS because of, once again, SLS is frankly terrible architecture. But it's fixable. It's not terrible, it's fixable. It's just not complete. It's an incomplete architecture. See what I'm talking about? That's what hardware lean means. That's bad. Because now NASA's in a position where they need to test this heat shield again. And they can't. The next mission has to have people on it. If it doesn't have people on it, you're not landing on the moon anytime soon. Food for thought. The exploration upper stage is stuck at critical design reviews since they're still wasting time to recruit and redesign the tools to build it in Michoud. Screw it. Get rid of it, Baron. Get rid of it. Put New Glenn's upper stage on it. I don't care anymore. I'm so sick of this. I'm so sick of this snot, dude. The exploration upper stage, guys, has some really bad problems with it because NASA doesn't have people that know how to make big upper stages anymore. They fired all those people when they, 50 years ago. They don't know how to make upper stages. NASA hasn't made an upper stage since the Saturn V. Well, since the Saturn V. It's always commercial. Boeing doesn't have the technical expertise because, once again, Boeing hasn't made an upper stage for a rocket since the Saturn V. That's a better way to put that. The people who know are, yeah, and anybody that does know Hokie, exactly, is at Blue or SpaceX. Yeah. Interesting conundrum. That's why when NASA had a press conference a couple months ago and they said, we're going to launch when we're ready, I'm like, yeah, bull crap you are. What does that mean, launch when you're ready? What does that mean, launch when you're ready? That's stupid. You don't know, you can't verify if your heat shield works and you're going to put people on this? Are you out of your goddamn mind? What the heck is wrong with you? And they said, oh, well, Artemis 2 is going to be fine. We'll just fly it on a slightly different trajectory so the heat shield doesn't delaminate as much. Okay. All right. All right. How about you guys don't launch people on a whim? How about we don't do that? Last time we did that, it didn't work. How about we don't do that? Technically, Boeing has made one since Saturn V, but they got spun off into ULA. Technically, Talon, but you get the hyperbole here, right? How about we don't do that? Last time we did that, it didn't end well. That was a bad idea. Angry EJ. No, not angry. Just explaining things. That's what I mean about hardware lean and why it's bad. You absolutely cannot run a space program this way. You can't run a space program testing the capsule and the vehicle and then maybe changing the upper stage in a couple of missions and then launching it once a year. You cannot do that. You are setting your space program up to fail miserably. And maybe that's by design. I don't know. I hope not. Who decides this stuff? Congress. Congress is what signed SLS's architecture into law. They did that because someone in the executive branch decided they wanted to pull the entire rug out from the entire human spaceflight program, or entire national human spaceflight program 15 years ago. Someone thought that would be a good idea and didn't think there would be catastrophic repercussions for it. We did kind of get SpaceX out of it, so that's kind of nice, but even that's loaded to an extent. Mowgli, yes and no. I don't think it's his fault. I think it's the people who were whispering in his ear were the same type of people that have the Dunning-Kruger attitude that signed SLS into law. Hey, Yarg, what's up, man? How bad would it be to integrate Orion onto something like New Glenn? I think that's a great idea, Matt. I think NASA should go to Blue and say, we want to use New Glenn in an Ares 1 style architecture. Put Orion on top of New Glenn. It'll work. It'll work great, actually. That way you can afford to test its heat shield more before you decide to launch people on it. Since it'd be uncrewed anyways, what would it practically take to, say, shove Orion in one of Blue's fairings as a payload just to shoot it to high orbit to test? Yard, there's a good idea. Let's do that. That's a good call. Let's do that. Sure, man. It'll fit. It'll absolutely fit inside of the fairing. Let's go. So, Yarg, the idea that I've been kind of cooking up in my mind here, let me show you real quick. We do have a little bit more space news, but I'll show you in a second. So, here. I need this picture. It's a frickin' WebP? No. Yeah, whatever. It's good enough. Here, let me show you what I think is a good idea. If I can't find it, I'll just draw over one of these other things. Yeah, it doesn't want to open up the web. Oh, there it is. Excellent. Okay, here. I see it. Yep. All right, so here's what I'm talking about. Put Orion, crew rate New Glenn for Orion. Use it as your Ares 1. Simultaneously, if you're going to do that, you can take New Glenn's upper stage and put that on here instead. The EUS has been in CDR for 5 freaking years. That's dumb. All right, enough. 5 years? I'm sorry. It's a good idea. Piss off. Great. You should have built it already. Here's what you do instead. Okay. Take all this. Well. Here. Let's go here. Go here. Take this. Just give me the brush. Brush there. White brush. Just, I said white brush? No? I guess not. All right, cool. Screw it. Put an interstage right here like this, okay? You have an interstage like that. Now, in here, you have a stage adapter like this, okay? Here is New Glen's upper stage, right there. Here, you have a forward load reactor, like on Atlas V, right? And then, from there, you could do your universal stage adapter to your, well, put this right here, to your Orion capsule. Or you could run SLS with a 10-meter fairing, which is what they eventually want to do, but who knows when the hell that'll ever happen, right? Or you could run it like that. That fairing's kind of bent, but you get the idea. That, right there. Actually, that's probably not to scale. New Glen's upper stage is a little bit bigger than this. Let's try to draw it to scale. New Glen's upper stage would be like up here somewhere. Like that. And then, you know, you got your fairing, etc., etc. There you go. Done. You could launch Orion with that, or you could launch it with a 10-meter cargo fairing and use New Glen as your Ares 1. New Glen is reusable, so you can handle high flight cadence, and then you can develop an EOR architecture or an LOR architecture from there. And frankly, you could probably get that done faster and quicker than whatever the cluster frick they're trying to do now. That would be the idea, though. Yeah, it's just a Kerbal fairing. I was gonna say Falcon Heavy. Falcon Heavy could put an Orion into space, sure. I'd be a little worried about load on the second stage. Orion's heavy, it's 26 tons. That's a lot. That exceeds Falcon 9's maximum throw capacity, so I'd be a little worried about loads at that point. But sure, man, you could do Falcon Heavy. Do Falcon Heavy, do New Glen, do whatever. I don't care. Just do something. Do something. Because once again, NASA, dude, you're in a position where you don't know if the heat shield's going to work. You can't say conclusively if the heat shield's going to work. So NASA's solution was just keep doing calculations until we're more sure that it's going to work than we are now. And then when those calculations are done, we'll launch it. And then hopefully the calculations were right, which is a very, 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 very stupid way of running your space program. That's like Kerbal levels of stupid. One of the funniest stuff that I think you never heard about, a family member that used to work on Omega told me that after they lost NSSL, Northrop Grumman tried to offer engineers and already built tools and designs for NASA, but they refused. Even the Omega second stage was good. Yeah, I will say, Baron, that Northrop Grumman deciding to not keep going with, deciding to not pursue Omega after NSSL procurement, was probably one of the dumbest, like, business decisions that company has ever made. Now, keep in mind, the NSSL awards were in 2020. NSSL Phase 2, Launch Services Procurement, right? It was in 2020, so hindsight, I guess, right? I'll just say that Northrop Grumman, instead of pursuing development of their own homologated launch vehicle that the Air Force, frankly, paid them $500 million to develop already, and all it needed to do was just kind of be put together. Instead of pursuing that, they decided to just say, oh, we'll keep launching Antares. We'll just keep launching Antares because it's cheaper. We'll keep launching Antares because it's cheaper, with its Ukrainian core stage and Russian rocket engines. Oops. Yeah, there's no more Antares. Yeah, Northrop Grumman has had to since buy engines and services from other launch providers despite being a launch provider themselves. Whoops. Whereas if they had kept going, I guarantee you it would have cost at least less, if not about the same amount of money that they've used to redesign Antares a bajillion times to work with Firefly engines, right? With Firefly's Miranda engines. Yeah, they could have just developed Omega and it would have been fine. And now you'd have heavy lift launch capability that you could use to bid on NSSL Phase 3 Lane 1 and make millions of dollars on Department of Defense missions with a very mature design using SRBs that have 30 years of heritage involved. Just saying. Whoops. Missed a big cash cow on that one. Wasn't the Antares failure before or after the Omega cancellation? CRS-3? Antares Resupply 3 was way before the Omega cancellation.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Predominant 73-month resubside. So yeah, I mean, hindsight is 2020. But also, that is a good example of why you should not nickel and dime your own space program. It's going to end up costing you more money in the long run. It always does. That has never failed. Anytime someone figures out a way, oh, we could do it for cheaper. We could do it for cheaper. Oh, we could do it for cheaper. Yeah, let's use that way that's cheaper. You always end up paying more money. Always. Every time. Was the shuttle expensive to launch? Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Is it as expensive as the Saturn V? No, Saturn V is pretty expensive. Does the shuttle do what a Saturn V does? No. So yeah, you saved money to do less. Good. It's a linear correlation. It is. Like, sorry. SpaceX hopefully is the anomaly to this. Because no one's ever been able to prove that wrong throughout spaceflight history. Ever. Can NASA use adapted Starship heat tiles for Orion if SpaceX can make them operational? Maybe. But Bedojo, you're not going to redesign your heat shield potentially 2 years out from a human-rated mission. And this is once again, that's the big problem that NASA is having right now. They're not sure if the heat shield's going to work. Because they redesigned it after EFT1 in 2014. They redesigned it because they built an exact replica of the Apollo heat shield for EFT1 and it performed great. And then they said, that performed really well, but yeah, no, we don't. This will take too long to make. There's no industrial base for this. Well, yeah, of course there's no industrial base for making honeycomb ablator heat shield, honeycomb Avcode ablator heat shields. No one's done that in 50 years. So I don't know. Make the market for it. Maybe. Get out there. Maybe you should do that. Yeah, it's too difficult to make. That was the exact words, Norath. You remember that? They finished demolishing the MLP for Omega. That's long gone, Baron. It's long gone. And they actually demolished another one. There's only one mobile launcher left. Couldn't we duct tape a Saturn V third stage on top of SLS as a second stage replacement? Who's going to make it? Where's it coming from? Trey, yeah, of course we could. So, all right, here, let me explain it like this. The S4B is here, hold on. Let me explain it like this. Okay, here, take a look. There's an S4B. Saturn V third stage. Great design, to be honest with you. J2, amazing rocket engine for what it is. We should have never stopped making those. That would have been really good to keep making that, but whatever. So let's look at the general characteristics here. Okay, so you have about 1,000 kilonewtons of thrust, give or take. About 1,000 kilonewtons of thrust, 421 second specific impulse, hydrolox, burn time 500 seconds. You have a 17 meter tall Core, 6.6 meters wide. So about 60 feet tall, 20 feet wide, give or take. Gross mass, 123,000 kilograms. 271,000 pounds. Okay? Now, look at New Glenn's second stage. GS2, height, 23.4 meters, 77 feet. Diameter, 7 meters, 23 feet. Powered by 2 BE3Us, making 1,500 kilonewtons of thrust. Burn time, 644 seconds. LOX LH2 propellants. Trey, New Glenn second stage is just a better version of that. So why not duct tape a Saturn V upper stage? Why would you be satisfied with downgrading your upper stage when a much better option exists? Was it true that the S4B was a nightmare to manufacture? No, I'd say the LEM was probably your long lead. The LEM was your long lead item for the Saturn V. In fact, that's the reason why Apollo 8 launched with no lander. Because Grumman was behind on the LEM, because building a lunar lander for people takes time. That's complicated. Still is complicated to this day. And until somebody does it, and does it a lot, hardware rich, it's going to stay complicated. What is this, Baron? Figure 7, exploration upper stage, schedule slips as of December 2023. The CDR for this was done in late 2019. Critical design review means start making things. This is what I'm talking about. Dump it. Dump it. Dump it. Just get rid of it. Dump it. That's the waste of time. Look, if the EUS was even remotely close to being manufactured at this moment in time, if we were remotely close to having one to put on an SLS, right, to launch, I would say don't cancel it. But since, as of right now, we're looking at the first EUS to be made is net 2027. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. That program has been around for way too long. You telling me you can't just make an upper stage? You've been critically reviewing this design for 5 years. Look. And what kills me is that I know the people involved with building the EUS at this point are smart. I know they're working, but they haven't been given the tools to succeed. And that's not, if I was NASA administrator, that's frankly not my problem. Like, I hate being mean, but dude, I would love to get paid billions of dollars to produce nothing. That would be amazing. That'd be fantastic. That'd be great. So Bechtel. I would like to get into that not building business. I don't feel that if we give it another upper stage, that would change the picture. How can I get one of these contracts? Yeah, I'm really wondering. And that brings me to one of the last things that we're going to talk about. I still have 2 things to say. Well, I guess we'll get into this real quick. So RGV has a new picture of the trench at Pad B down at Starbase. If you want to see OIG grilling EUS, check page 23. I've read this OIG on stream, Baron. I've read it on stream. You guys want to get angry? I didn't just come up with these opinions that I have about NASA for no reason, just because I saw one thing that I didn't like and said, I know exactly what to say. I know exactly what to show you. Read that. A significant factor contributing to high costs for the Block 1B upgrade has been sustaining an EUS workforce over the last 10 years. The EUS workforce will have worked on the system for 14 years by the time of the projected first flight, an effort intended to be completed in 7 years. From February to August 2023, Boeing spent an average of $26 million a month on its EUS workforce, contractors, and related costs. We expect Boeing to continue this level of spending on workforce hours until it delivers the EUS to NASA in 2027 due to major outstanding schedule milestones such as software installation, LOX fuel tank installation, forward adapter integration and testing, and final integrated functional testing. Dude, you can, I get it. There's people out there that work in the industry that are watching this. All right, look. I might be at the peak of Dunning-Kruger when it comes to this stuff. If you paid me $300 million a year, I could manufacture. I know I would have the wherewithal to find the right resources to figure out how to get that done. $26 million a month. That's that's actually a little bit more than $300 million a year. What the hell are you doing? Like, what's the problem here? I don't understand. And once again, like I said, peak Dunning-Kruger. I know what the problem is. They're on retainer because they don't know what to make because that version of SLS doesn't exist. I mean, they've basically been on a retainer this entire time. Yep. Multiple Boeing manufacturing issues necessitated costly and time-consuming rework of critical components. These issues span from production inefficiencies to workforce and quality control deficiencies discussed earlier. As noted, Boeing's unsatisfactory welding operations resulted in a 7-month delay in EUS completion. See what I mean? Look, the flip side of this is that I know making this stuff is difficult, and you definitely doing it for NASA definitely is tying one hand behind your back. I'm not trying to sit here and insinuate that the people that are working on EUS are idiots. The people that are actually there designing the thing and manufacturing the thing and understanding how it works, they are definitely there not just to collect a paycheck. The workforce personnel is there and they want to do it. Nobody gets into this business because they want to make money. Unless you're a high-level executive at certain companies. Right? The people that are there, the people that are actually putting the thing together and coming up with the drawings and figuring things out, those are the people that want to be there. They have the technical chops to get this done correctly. It's that they haven't been given the tools to succeed. And that's what's pissing me off. It sucks because you're sitting on this gold mine of knowledge here and they don't utilize it. They haven't given them the tools that they need to succeed, and it's very annoying. $300 million and you can't make a upper stage with the engines already designed. With the engines already made. The EUS uses 4 RL-10 engines. RL-10 engines have been manufactured in constant manufacture since 1961. Your propulsion is already engineered for you. You telling me you can't make a couple of tanks? You telling me it's taking you 14 years to make a couple of freaking fuel tanks? Sorry. Enough. If it was me, enough. Enough. Jeff Bezos, build me an extra Glen stage, please. Build me 5 extra Glen stages, please. And no one's holding them accountable. That's a NASA problem, Shadow. Yeah. The parties involved that are designed to hold accountability, the Boeing executives don't really give the... Clearly, they don't care. And NASA isn't willing to hold Boeing's feet to the fire, which is... That sucks. Who gets the shaft? The people that are working at Michoud on this stuff. Like, that's who gets the shaft, and that sucks. That's annoying. I don't like that. But what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? So could you make it? George, I'm confident enough in my abilities to know that if you were paying me that much, I could probably produce you something. Yes, I could probably do that right. You know why? Do you know why I could? Because unlike the people that are running it, I know that I know nothing about making upper stages. So I would find the right people to make it. I know people. I know people in the space program. I know a lot of people in the space program. I'm confident enough to know that I would seek out the right people and have at least a frigging prototype done in a year. Oh. Anyway, Flame Trench for Pad B is started. They started really digging out all these pilings here. This is where the flame buckets are going to be. The OLM is going to be right here. Once again, this picture is coming from RGB Aerial. They need to change the workforce and contracts and not buy other stages. Something like that. You'd be a good systems engineer. Thanks, Oki. That means a lot coming from you, dude. I'd love to throw my hat into the ring. And if I failed, okay, great. All right, fine. I get it. I'm not a rocket scientist. I get it. But sometimes, dude, yo, let me run this stuff. I'm good at this. I'm confident in my abilities that I can figure this out. And it's not coming from nowhere. I have 15 years of systems engineering experience, albeit in KSP. I get it. It's Kerbal. It's not the same. But I also know manufacturing too. I forced myself to design mission architectures in KSP to understand how systems engineering works. This is my wheelhouse. This is what I do. If you fail, people die. Believe me, it would haunt my dreams if that happens. That's how I know I would get it done. Even if that means I shouldn't be the boss anymore. I like the US, to be honest, and there's too many stuff linked to the US to cut it. Like what? Like what, Yuri? Frick that thing. Look, the US is a great design. It's a great upper stage. It would be a great upper stage for SLS if it existed. It doesn't exist. It does not exist. The reason why I say keep pressing forward with SLS and move to 4 launches a year is because SLS exists. It's because it exists. The US doesn't exist. So you have an opportunity here. It doesn't exist anyway. You have an opportunity here to put a better performing, higher characteristic energy and higher and more efficient upper stage on top of this thing. You have the opportunity to do that. We could get an SLS that is actually better. Even comparable to a Saturn V. Fine. Well, let's do it. Make it happen. The core stage is already designed to have a much heavier stage on top of it. The core stage was designed to do that. We know that from their structural testing, from their hydrogen tank structural testing jigs that NASA did back in 2019. They tested it for 220% of rated load because the SLS core stage is designed to lift a lot more than a Block 1B. Did you ever hear the reasons that NASA refused New Glenn's upper stage back in 2019? Yeah. How would that kind of experience look on a resume as you apply for a job? It wouldn't, Brun, which is why I don't work in the spaceflight industry. Okay, well, fine then. People die then quit because you got it wrong? No, George, that's not what I'm saying. I would have the wherewithal to know that this is out of my wheelhouse and give the job to somebody that knows what they're doing before I even got to that point. You can't, it's not like playing baseball, dude. Like if you strike out, you're screwed. I know enough about spaceflight to know the risks involved. Counteroffer, give the EOS contract to Blue Origin. Why? Literally ML2 alone in making because of the EOS. And if you put something else, you would already rebaseline your system under time, and that's also bad. They use the same propellants, Yuri, with a very similar flow rate, same refueling timing. It's fuel and then load. New Glenn's second stage umbilical already exists. It's over there sitting at Slick 36. You telling me Blue can't make another one of those and mount it on the ML? Use the same lines, same feed rates, dude. Same propellants. Just saying. NXN 120. Hey, 52 months. What's up, dude? You only get to do it once. All right, fine. I mean, you guys, that's fine. I won't throw my hat into the ring, and then we just keep spending millions of dollars on vaporware. Give me 1 second. Hang on, I'm talking to Das. Not about this. Couldn't they change the RS-25 to BE4s? Nah, you'd be changing the propellants of your core stage. They wouldn't be able to put you in front of a mic sometimes, though. But guys, anyway, what I'm saying is that I'd be confident enough to know I'm out of my league. But if I had the opportunity, I'd take it. But like I said, I'm not saying like, oh, I could build a Saturn V. No. What I'm saying is that I know enough to be confident to throw my hat into the ring. And if I would realize that the thing isn't going to work before we even got to the point of putting people on it. I have the wherewithal to get that far at the very least. I'm not saying I'd be successful, all right? Let me just be very clear on that. But, god dang it, I'd try. I could do better than that. It's 14 years. They've produced nothing. Not, like, actually nothing. Nothing. Like, nothing. They've made nothing. Yeah, Hokey, there you go. Believe me, I don't sit here and read books about systems engineering for my health, because you'll go gray just reading about how to do it right. It's a pain in the butt. You have amazing theoretical knowledge. In real life, you'd be lost. You think so, George?
Oh, this is space. I'm in space.
Maybe I need to get better at that. Hang on 1 second again. Why not contract the EU as the glorious Bakalakadakistan? George, I have a question. What, just out of curiosity, all right, if people want to be critical of me, that's fine. I don't care about that. Why, and this is an honest question, I mean this for real. Like, what makes you think I don't have the real life skills to do this? Just out of curiosity. What makes you think that? Because I sit in front of a computer all day? I'm just genuinely wondering what's the premise for that, because you know, to be honest with you, you're probably right. I'm just wondering how I got that vibe. Like, what makes you think that? Just out of curiosity. Humor me, if you will. Bangladesh could make a US in no time. We make Pinto. It's fine. We'll make a stage. Did you see today's post from Vast? I haven't, Andrew. We'll check it out. I think it's because you're a media personality and they tend not to do well in applied real life. All right, fair criticism. To be honest, EJ, right, I'm interested in how I can improve an understanding even for now. I'm just a space nerd. You got to get hands-on, man. I think you'd do fine. This is a management issue, and you know enough to talk. You know enough to talk to engineers and the energy and drive to put a boot up butts. I don't want to do that silly, but that's what needs to be done. It's very clear. Like, being a jerk like that isn't always the way to lead. And even if you were, it's the George Hotz effect. Couldn't hack Twitter. What do you mean, Hans? Has he seen the shop? I'm just, yeah, no, I mean, I can show a bunch of stuff sitting in the garage. I don't think I have OBS up on the other computer. No, I don't. Gotta go turn it on, but I've watched you many times, and you're very articulate and have great theory knowledge. However, that doesn't make a good engineer. Interesting. I mean, no, I'm just, George, I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm not trying to be like Dogpile. You'd say, well, I know what I'm doing. I'm just wondering what gave that vibe, because so the interesting thing is that, like, and this is not, we're not talking about my skills, because frankly, I kind of agree with you. Like, if I was in over my head, I would know I'm in over my head, and I would say I'm in over my head. And you're probably right. I probably wouldn't last very long, but at least I'd try, right? Like, but the big thing that I'm getting at is, like, I have a lot of theoretical knowledge, or it seems like I have a lot of theoretical knowledge, because nobody wants to see you crunch numbers on stream, right? Like, how do you know I'm bad at math? How do you know it's just theory? Like, I could sit here and we could go through the numbers. I used to on stream. I mean, that was like 7-8 years ago. I used to run through delta V formulas and thrust calculations and all the other formulas that for like figuring out how your rocket engine flies, and then we do it in KSP. Like, I guess what I'm saying is, like, I'm a lot better at this stuff than I let on, because there's a certain level of detail that you don't kind of exceed as a content creator. Does that make sense? For what it's worth, I still agree. I probably wouldn't. I'd be confident enough, but if, I'm in over my head, I'm in over my head, like. The hell is that? Having a college degree don't mean a damn thing. I'm not talking about a college degree. I mean, on a resume, yes, it does, goalie. Unfortunately, in this field, like, sorry. If I told you a different way how the government spends, it would change your mind and see as to why they do things the way that they do. King, I understand how government procurement works. You've heard me break down government procurement on streams while you were here, and I've been doing it for decades with you watching. Okay? I know how the procurement works. In no scenario is a program that's supposed to build an upper stage for a rocket, in no scenario is it okay to not produce anything for 15 years. Sorry. In no scenario. You can talk all you want about procurement. That's not correct. Yeah, that's not right. What are you doing for Valentine's Day? Stuff with Brimo. X-Wing, I'm not trying to, here, hold up. I'm not trying to pitchfork anybody in chat. This is more me wondering why people don't think I have the hands-on experience. That's all. And where I'm going with this. Where am I going with this? What I'm doing here is, it's a little bit of a pivot, and I understand. A little bit of a pivot. You could say I'm kind of maybe I'm avoiding the question if you want. I think there's a disconnect between what I know, like what I actually know, and what comes through on stream, because I have to keep explanations short and concise, right? I'm pretty good at this. But the reason why I asked, skeptics of my ability about this, the reason why I did it, is because I want to know just what people think I know and compare that to what I actually know and see how far the gap is. Because there's opportunity for improvement as a content creator there. That's all. That's the whole reason. Yeah, hey Orison, what's up, man? That's not what I'm talking about. Use it or lose it. If you don't use your budget, you won't get the same budget next year. You either waste money or your budget get cut next year. Yeah, figure out better ways to fund things then, because space programs can't really work like that. We're not procuring ammunition here, or are we? We're procuring stages. But then again, if you're procuring ammunition, you didn't design the ammunition, right? But with NASA, they have to do that. The way they procure you can't procure it like military contracts. That's why I always say, King, that the contract structuring for SLS right now is terrible. It needs to be completely revamped. Yeah, Tiggs, I got you. I need to say that you are very talented in talking about the science. Yeah, George, I got you. Once again, this isn't me trying to prove that I could do it, because you're right. I don't have a lot of hands-on experience with this stuff. I've hugged a rocket engine once. However, I do have a lot of experience with hands-on mechanics and electrical. And once again, this is not me trying to prove to you that I can do this. I wired my entire truck. I built the wire harness for my 59, for the 59 F100. I understand an upper stage is not exactly the same. I get it. I wired it myself. I taught myself how to do that. I rebuilt the entire truck. The truck was nothing. It was a frame, and I built the whole thing back together. Now, once again, does that mean I can build stages? No. That's not what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is that I'm more hands-on than what seems to come across. And I'm looking for ways to improve that and show that. I guess the short answer is I should do more automotive streaming and teach people more about mechanics and stuff. But, cool. I'm happy about the theoretical stuff. Yeah, once again, that's the reason why I asked. Because, yeah, you're probably right. But also at the same time, if you think I'm just another guy that sits in front of the computer all day and talks about spaceflight, well, that's kind of on me for not showing you that. You know what I mean? That's really where I'm honing in. Build a rocket on stream. I think we have to. Yeah. Why, though? You have nothing to prove to us. Once again, B0, it's not about proving something to you. It's about being a better content creator. That's really what this kind of conversation evolved into. I started life as a mechanic, so much respect. I admire your passion. Yeah, dude. Yeah, absolutely. No, I got you. And you know what, George? I'll be 100% real with you. You and Hans and a couple other people. Thank you for the criticism. I appreciate it. I'm dead serious about that. Thank you. I want to know. If I'm coming off as a prick, like overconfident, tell me. Like that. Like you just did. I'm not like any other influencer out there that's just going to be like, well, fuck you, man, I could do it. Like, I'm confident in myself. I know that I could come up with a systems architecture. I know that I could do it. I wouldn't be sitting here spouting off about architecture if I wasn't confident. But I want to make sure that I'm not the person that's just spouting off nonsense on the internet. You know what I mean? I want to show you guys that I can back it up. Not to prove to you, but to show that I have enough competency to talk about this. Because a lot of people don't. Right? A lot of people don't. A lot of people don't know what they're talking about. And I'm included in that in some respects. Right? But there's ways to improve. And we will. Has this become more state of the stream? No. That is Chat's job, spouting off armchair expertise. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I got to do more technical streams then. As someone who works in the industry, if you think you can do better, remember that government space programs aren't just about engineering. They're about navigating budgets, regulations, and politics. That is where I would fail miserably, Baron. Oh, yeah. The best design won't win if it can't pass certification or fit with the aging infrastructure. Success isn't just about speed, reliability, diplomacy. Yep. Yeah. True that. One state of the stream, though. Man, going down to Boca really screwed that up. I had planned for it the week that I ended up going down for Starship. We should probably do that. Yeah, okay, SVO. I never said you spout nonsense. No. I got you. I got you. All good. This also just dropped. What's that? I guess what I'm saying is if you guys think I'm going off the rails, reel me in. And then we can figure out ways to be a better content creator. You know what I mean? Basically, keep doing what you did. That's what I'm saying. Because that means I have a place to improve. But also, man, I could design that damn upper stage. I could. It's not Dunning-Kruger. I would get further than most. Yeah, SVO, I don't know if that's going to fit in with my timetables, dude, but I would love to, dude. We'll see. How long does state of the stream take for you to figure out? Could you do it Friday before racing and return to normal programming the next week? I mean, half of my engineering team members eat crayons for breakfast. Nice. Give me 1 second. Okay, so design one then and show your work. Oh, Starbase Live has sounds like a cicada right there. I don't know if you guys can hear that. I like grape crayons. That's my favorite. Design one, George? All right. What do you want? You want a drawing? I think you could be a great tech one that can actually communicate with engineers. It's time to talk about the turbo encabulator. Damn cicadas next to the microphone on Starbase. Okay, it's gone. The EUS is made by Europe, right? No, it's made by Boeing, David. That's the European Service Module, the ESM. Oh gosh, the yak is flying everywhere. Anyway, okay, let's keep going here. I have one more thing for you. How spicy do we want to get? 100,000 Scoville? 1 million Scoville? How spicy do we want to get here? We're already talking about pretty spicy stuff. Yeah, Limprod, I have it already. But that's not necessarily space news. So remove the limiter. What is this? Who is this? Who is this? What is this? Who is this person? So I am, speaking of confidence in what's going on, Ashley Vance tweeted this. Ashley Vance is a writer. He writes books about spaceflight. He wrote a book about Elon Musk, basically a spaceflight journalist. So this is off USA Spending. So this is the official website of the United States government. What are we looking for here? Yeah, I've seen it, Bargon. It looks great. What are we looking for here? We need Jack to make a visit to the Starbase live mic broadcast and whisper sweet nothings to you. Yeah. What is he looking for? Is this legit? Did NASA spend $500K on Politico subscriptions? Oh. Hey, Kino. Your resident Lompoc launch reviewer has returned. What's up, man? NASA, $473,500. A subscription service. Where does it say Politico in this image? That's what I'm trying to find. Politico is a news website. 7. The recipient right there. Slide over. Top has a slider. Control F, guys. It's a picture. It's a picture from a post. All right, hold on. Please hold. That's the recipient ID for Politico. Let's see what we got, hokey dokey. This might explain it. Pro Politico subscriptions are down 20,000 a year or more. It's Bloomberg terminal for federal functions. It's not the headlines you scream about on here because they're mean to your favorites. I don't know what that means. Okay, so Ashley Vance seems to have found NASA paying $500,000 for Politico subscriptions. Why does NASA need access to Politico, though? So does this go back to the horrible allocation of NASA budget? Yeah. Yes, Trey, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. Right here. This is what I want to believe. So whenever I see something like this, that's something that's kind of a confirmational bias, so to speak, I start digging. When it's something that I want to hear, oh, of course NASA's wasting money, wasting $500,000 on a subscription to a website that's useless. Nah, capital allocation. See, now I'll start trying to prove myself wrong, because that's how you scientific method. NASA spending $500K on a news subscription, but it's actually bad. Why would they have that? What's the scenario where NASA needs a subscription to Politico? I'm sure there's a reason. Did you hear about the sussy new appointee at NASA leadership? Baron, yeah. A SpaceX veteran of 15 years. His name's Michael. I forget his last name. Is the assistant to acting administrator Petro right now. Interestingly enough. Forget that's political. Why would NASA need to pay for any news service? That's really what I'm wondering, dude. Okay, this might be stupid. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Well, you know, here's the thing. I've been sitting here talking about capital allocation for a long time, and I can't really think of any particular reason other than scientific research, in which case, no, why you'd be shelling out that kind of money to something like Politico. One possibility chance is it's a subscription that's offered to their staff in part of their library. I know the Navy has a library system that is accessible to all employees in active duty that has subscription to these things like O'Reilly manuals. That's my guess, Hokey. It's probably some package thing. So like, yeah, that's my guess. Like, oh, you could work at NASA. If you work at NASA, you get a Politico subscription too. It's a perk almost, right? Like, check Discord. Yeah, I know. Uh-oh. I guess they don't anymore. Well, okay. So much for that. Yep. All right. We don't have to worry about that no more. I should put that 500K towards Viper. It's not enough. Not gonna lie, I don't trust anything that comes from there, but that's just you. I mean, that doesn't mean anything, guys. Like, I'm just, like I said, if I see something that I kind of agree with, like that, you know, everybody is trying to get you to agree with them nowadays, especially on social media. You know, whether it be for engagement or whatnot, right? When I see something like that, that I'm like, oh, great, good, canceled, excellent. Now I want to know why, right? Like, you want to know why. Why would you do this? I'm sure there's a good reason. Or is there not? I'd go searching for the good reason before I go searching for the bad reason, because I know good and well enough that, you know, with the state of capital allocation of NASA, seeing something like this would piss me off. But, like I said, I'm not going to play that social media game. We're not doing that. Figure out why, right? You hope there's a good reason. Yeah, sure. Yeah, if you want to get at that, absolutely. No, Tig, no. It's just static. That last thing was just spicy static at the end. I think we had some good discussions about SLS and stuff. The next bit here is non-space news, but something I think you guys would find cool anyway. It has to do with, well, here, look at this. I admittedly know nothing about this, but this is coming from Naval News. The U.S. Navy's Helios laser test underscores greater advancements in directed energy weapons. What the actual frick is going on here? What? In late 2024, the U.S. Navy tested its Helios weapon systems against a threat representing a cruise missile. This test, performed with the USS Preble, DDG-88, will inform the fleet for a wider number of directed energy efforts. The U.S. Navy's high-energy laser and integrated optical dazzler and backronyms. The U.S. Navy's Helios system faced its first airborne target during a test in 2024. A first time for the Helios program that will help the U.S. Navy inform other programs under the Directed Energy and Electric Weapons System effort. What the frick? They have this? You're gonna get freaking sharks with freaking laser beams on top of their heads? What the ball? Look at that thing. Look at that thing. What is that? That's some Death Star stuff going on there. Now we need to integrate that to a spaceship and then we'll have Star Wars. Yeah. Don't hit the enter key too early, Admana. They had been developing this for years. I remember reading about it a decade ago at the same time they were working on the railgun. Maybe this is why they canceled the railgun, Tessa, because this is better. That one's better. Dude, that's crazy. Look at that. I mean, this is infrared all day. This is definitely an infrared picture, but don't touch the boats. Oh, you guys are making me want to play Hearts. Programmatic and engineering support to the integrated projects teams and working groups to continue to provide shipboard technical support by monitoring the system throughout operation as the original equipment manufacturer. Continue to provide shipboard technical assistance. This article can be basically boiled down to one thing. We tried it and it works, and we're going to figure out what else it does now. And maybe how to implement it. This is, yeah, it's a point defense weapon. I got you, Tessa. It'll melt an incoming missile. That's pretty cool, man. That's Star Wars, dude. Dude, play hearts. Maybe soon. 600 to 300 kilowatts. I mean, it's not going to take... You don't need that much energy to melt a missile. We're doing hearts on Thursday, are we? Did I say we were doing that? You just did? I see what you did there. I thought it was for more UAVs than missiles. They said they tested it on a cruise missile. No, but you need that much energy to generate a laser that can travel miles through the atmosphere and then melt a missile. Okay, what I'm saying is that 300 kilowatts total energy involved here, your total impulse of, well, total specific energy used, right? That's what it would be. It's not high, considering you can zap a missile out of the sky. It's pretty cool. Neat, Baron. Note, I said May. Right. Dude, just burn a hole in a ship. Oh, the ship's getting near us. Burn a hole in it. Put a mirror on the front of my missiles now. Where do I collect my check from Lockheed? Nice. All right, dudes. That's well, that's not enough counterweight to move that. Jack, what the hell? Why does it have my watermark on it? Nice. Oh my goodness. Jack. Just Jack everywhere. That's pretty funny. All right. I would believe you made this. It fits your personality, I think. Nice. Just Jack has invaded the stream. All right, dudes. So, another world Yak makes this picture. Yeah, right. I'm going through vids I have not put up yet and forgot this one. Watch the ears. Okay. I'm confused. Back to the wet beavers. Tessa, I'm trying to get the side project for NSF done. And in that regard, like, I'm trying to limit the streams to 8 hours a day. Great show today. Thanks, Joe. Thank you. What is that, Baron? Uncle Ray Ray. Raytheon. Uncle Ray Ray. Oh, I'm stealing that, Baron. I'm calling Raytheon Uncle Ray Ray from now on. That's how it's gonna do. On better news, a kid who protected his sister near the site of a downed plane in Philly has just woken up from emergency brain surgery. He's summarizing, but seems like his first thought was, is she okay? Is she okay? Is she safe? And the second one was, did I miss the Super Bowl? Eagles fans. Hey, for what it's worth, Eagles fans, I'm rooting for you. Please beat Kansas City. Please. Please. Come on, Dirty Birds. Let's go. I ain't watching the Super Bowl, though. I don't care. I don't care. I got better things to do. It's crazy how EJ makes 2 hours feel like 10 minutes. Sorry? No, Yuri. Not Missouri. No. Gross. Ew. I want the refs to win because screw them both. Well, I'm only going to say this, Hellfish, because people have been giving me crap since I started streaming about deflated footballs. Actually, I started streaming before Deflategate, but whatever. So, I am going to pay the generational trauma of being a winning sports team forward and say, well, a vote for the refs is a vote for Kansas City. And I will say it unapologetically. Man, it feels good not being the one that everybody's dumping on. It feels great. What is Super Bowl? We're talking about American Hand Egg, Yuri. Don't worry about it. But yeah, once I'm done with this NSF side project, dude, we'll get back to doing after hours. I'd like to not be dumped on for not being able to beat Kansas City, but you know we've done it twice. Like I said, I'm rooting for the Eagles. I'm so excited for you to get your gift from me. Okay? Did you ever check out Space Engineers 2? Yarg, I didn't, because from what I understand, it's very minimum right now. There's not a lot of features in it. I watched a couple people play it, and I'm just like, kind of, we'll wait a little while until they upgrade more stuff. American football in Chinese is literally translated to olive ball. Fun fact. All right, cool. It is minimum wait until the next update. Okay, Evil Rays, so I was right. Only creative mode right now. There's another Pennsyltucky, and I have to say go Birds. Go Birds. EA. E-A-G-L-E-S. Let's go. Fly, Eagles, fly. What? That's the thing? That's what you do, right? That's what I got too. That's why I was hoping to see what you thought of it was, what was in. I'll wait until the next update, Yargles. EA Sports. It's in your butt. Wait, what? All right, cool. We're done here. So, guys, I'm gonna head back to working on the NSF project. And okay, so real quick, dudes, tomorrow if we play Hearts, you guys got me on that. I like it. I was gonna play something else tomorrow, but if we do play Hearts of Iron tomorrow, there's going to be no space news. I have to get all my taxes in order, so I need to take some time. So I figure I'm already taking time this week. Might as well take all the time so we can have more time to play games later. Okie dokie? You're not pronouncing it right. It's Eagles. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry? No, don't worry about it. So, once again, tomorrow is just playing games and probably playing games until about 6. And no space news. Unless something big happens, like we get some big news or something. But yeah, I gotta do my taxes, which pain in the butt. Raid the dude, I've been forgetting to raid people. Yeah. Anyway, that's gonna do it for Space News. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will talk to you guys all tomorrow at noon. Yeah, you guys suckered me on playing Hearts, so all right. This is Josh DeGroot's fault in the Twitch chat, if you really want to know. Let's see who we can raid. On the YouTube side of things, you guys have a good night. I'll see you guys tomorrow at noon. Let's see. Oh! Civ 7. People have been asking me if I want to play. Do you want me to play Civ 7? I'll play it. I don't know how to play a Civilization. In fact, let me put it to you like this. The last time I played Civ, it was Civ 4. I have no idea what I'm doing if we decided to play, just for what it's worth. Yes, sure, it could be fun. Nah, there's better stuff. All right. Just feeling it out. Just feeling it out, dudes. So, Etal's playing Civ 7. I actually want to go see. I want to go see what this is about. And then we'll go from there. New Sins of a Solar Empire. Yargles, we'll see. I think Hearts is better, yeah. Well, let's go raid Italics and we'll see. On the YouTube side of things, have a good night. I'll talk to you guys all tomorrow. Once again, no space news. Just gaming tomorrow. I have to do taxes. Yeah, good times. But no, you should probably pay those. All right, dudes. Have a good night. And I'll see you guys later. Thank you very much for watching.